Hi. So, this is Nate. This is my coworker. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into this because our relationship, so we can dive right into the thing that I'm recording about. But we connected not just on work levels, which is awesome. So we can square that away, and that's awesome. But we connected on like every other level also. So that's where it's leading into this conversation. We've had many. This is one I'm like, dude, we just got to record this one too. This is good. So, okay, so talking about ascension or integration or the height of enlightenment right now in this age, in this time that we're living in, this DNA technology skin suit for the era that we were born into, that we're here. And if you're aware and conscious enough and care about these things, then it probably applies to you in some way. So, we got time limit too. That's good. We got time limit.
Time is of the essence.
Yeah. So, how do you integrate? So for me, it's not ascension, it's inscension, if you will. It's our higher selves, the fractals that have been higher above us that we typically fractal up into when we die, or that's the ideal. That is actually all fractaling down into us. The infinite compression that we've crossed the galactic central plane. They were getting light codes from the sun, the central sun, the codes that we haven't gotten for, in millions of years, potentially, in different ways for different reasons. And that's integrating to us. So how do energies that are, let's say, things if you've ever heard about or experienced DMT, or what that's like, or other hallucinogenics, or things that where you experience things that are so otherworldly and so beyond being able to put into words. But on the ride back off those experiences, that a lot of times as you're landing, you're starting to put things into words, and it's beautiful, but it's still not what you experienced. And that's, to me, an example of where people having near-death experiences, or OBEs, or astral projection, or lucid dreaming. I mean, all these things are on very similar spectrums. They're slightly different, as I understand them. Different light bodies access different things and work in different ways, but they're very similar, comparable, and similarity. Yeah, similarity. And so when you're trying to integrate higher energies, the only possible way to express something that's ineffable, or at least within our very poorly constructed English language, or language at all, when you can't communicate with emotion and feeling in light energy, which I know you can on certain levels, astral, and there's different ways that those things are far more visceral and tangible and fluidic and natural and intuitive. But in this 3D realm, when the common interaction with people is very surface level, there should be a better term than that, but I guess that works for this. Surface level, you're not reaching the depths of them as a person in a light interaction. Now, I'm not talking about like opening your heart and giving your heart away, or doing things that would be nonsensical to your well-being, but I'm talking about walking around with an open heart, in a sense that if there's somebody ready to engage you, that you can engage them fully, just as a person in that moment, saying hello and be fully present, like meaning hi, how are you, meaning it, not just like expecting them to say fine as you bypass each other or whatever. You're fully present in those moments. When you meet other people, that's where beauty happens, is when two people are fully present, complete strangers, or people have known each other and been married for 50 years, like fully present, And so when you're present with a person, how do you communicate the depths of truths and things you really care about, especially things that when we're integrating and growing and processing, these things that are ineffable or have yet to be ineffed into the earth until now, because this has never happened before. And the only way to do that is to embody metaphor, to be metaphor. Not just the words, but like in the movie, what's the movie, Nate?
Wrinkle of Time.
Okay, Wrinkle of Time. There's Nate's voice 4.5 minutes into this. Where she, the one angel or one guide or whatever, doesn't use her own words. She uses the words of the person's own colloquial understanding and connotations and nuances and even cultural references. And like, it's so beautiful. That's the epitome of an expression, because there's multiple expressions of perfect, humble condescension. And that's a beautiful one to fully meet someone where they're at, that you tune in a conversation with them, that yeah, you're still yourself, but you want to connect with them as a human being in a way that has the most meaning for both of you. So then you can find words in your communication. This is even subconscious. There's times you can engage this in imagery and like guided meditations or just awareness when you're talking with people. Think about the energetic layers, or metaphorically, higher energy connection between you and another person. So metaphorically, what does that look like to you? How do you feel it? Do you feel like there's a warmth exchanging between hearts or between solar plexus, or do you see lines and connection? Do you think thoughts that you know you aren't yours, that sound differently in a different thought? Do you just have a knowing or an awareness that you didn't have before? Like, there's always ways to self-analyze and or self-assess to get you to think in a way you haven't thought before, so that you can be and create metaphor into your own understanding of who you are and what you feel and think and experience, but also their nuances. And then you begin to speak in a way that is so efficient, in a sense, because you're tuned into each other. So your little nuanced words flow and actually progress conversation. This could be totally platonic. I'm talking about just like a lunch with somebody, or something romantic. Everything in between. I'll leave it there. Metaphor.
Wow, as always. Thanks, Aaron. Metaphor, yeah, one of the most important things, because I love that, the topic of this metaphor, and is a lot of it is connecting in a conversation with somebody, and how important it is. One of the most important things to me is a base, a foundation. Just like anything in life, you have that grounded, that base, and by able to expressing your thoughts with somebody through metaphors, it's easier for you to meet them at the same place on that base. When you have that solid base foundation, it helps the conversation, or helps the intimacy of the conversation and the connection of the conversation stronger, and it makes it feel better. And we use metaphors daily, constantly, to simplify things. But if you put it in another turn and use metaphors, not necessarily to simplify or dumb something down, but use metaphors to have somebody meet you on your level, or meet them on their level. And I'm a total talker. I'll talk to anybody. I don't really care. I will find a common ground between them and engage in a conversation. And like Aaron was saying, and like, maybe I am always open to, like, I am open to that. There's times where I've completely closed myself off, and I black out, in a sense, from people around me. But for the most part, I'm fully engaged in almost anybody. I don't have as much to dump out as Aaron did, because damn, you opened up those dams.
Was that good?
That was really good, actually. And it kind of left me a little dumbfounded, because we were talking about it as we were walking down the street, and he was breaking it down as he was processing in his head, and it took him a minute to get it to click with me, to catch gears with him. But I saw where he was going. We had that baseline, that foundation, to where I could see where he was going. But once I was able to catch up to speed with him, it enlightened me amazingly. And I already knew that. We already use that so much in our facets in our everyday, that I never was able to like pinpoint and find that knife's edge of what it actually is. And it's the metaphors and how we use them. A lot of us we'll use metaphors to explain something that somebody already knows completely, to explain something new. I do that with Aaron all the time, and something that I don't quite grasp, understand, he'll find a way to break it down and explain to me in something that I do completely understand. And then it opens up completely. I'm like, oh, then it literally, the lights turn on and I see perfectly, crystal clear. And, without us using and exercising those metaphors in our daily conversation with people that we literally do want to engage in, it can, we get a lot of those awkward moments. So many people, they go on their first dates and they don't find that baseline that they can have, and that common ground. So if you are going out and you're going to engage in new people, try to exercise it and use that. Use those metaphors that you pick up on their nuances of them, what you can read from them just physically or in short, brief conversations. And, it'll open up a whole different, friendship with that person by being able to meet them. As Aaron has said so many times, like, meeting them where they're at is so important. And metaphors are a great tool for that.
So Nate said something that's really fascinating. Just put another spin on this. So he said it took him a minute to catch up to what I was saying. So there's truth in that there's not a linear higher level of thought. At every higher level of thought, there's an infinite diversity of thoughts. Infinite. So, first of all, it's hard to engage someone's level of thought in a person, like what level they normally think at. And you have to take certain circumstances and situations and see how they respond to perceive the depth, the diversity of their level of thought on that level. Does that make sense? So the complexity of their thoughts and the facets, the different shoes they choose to walk in on that level fills out the depth of them as a being. So it's not just having achieved the highest level, whatever that is, because you can laser point up to the stars and be there, way faster than you ever could travel, well, modern day spacecraft, whatever, speed of light, right? But it's just that tiny beam of light. In this analogy, let's go for quantity matters here, because I know you can condense in algorithms, and you can, in a photon of light can hold the infinite energy of the universe. So, not that shit right now. Throw that aside. Simpler metaphor: the beam of light, tiny little strand of light, as opposed to your whole body ascending, learning to fly, and go to the stars, right? So, would you rather send a message on Morse code and think you've achieved enlightenment, or because you have some little truth?
It's a great metaphor
that touches the stars, and it does. It's not to mock that, but that's only Morse code or whatever. What about your being actually visits those places in meditation and stillness and inside yourself, because they're also inside of you and you are inside of them. There's a resonance there. So if you can find that resonance in you, you don't have to physically go with your body. Eventually, when we understand and integrate quantum bilocation through visual teleportation and imagery and understanding that you are everywhere at once, we're all interconnected through the singularity at every atom, the center of every atom of our body. And if it's entangled with our DNA and our morphogenic field, then we have a form of authority over it. Order. To have dominion. Not domination, but dominion. I choose to rotate my hand. So I'm moving the atoms and my perception of them in this residual image. But there's an equal co-creation. They flow with my morphogenic field because they've been attuned to it. So they pass that energetic signature on to every cell that regenerates on every part of my body for any given reason and purpose. Interesting. So when Nate said he was catching up to me, I just happened to, in that moment, be having a higher level thought about something. It's not like Nate is slow in general. Aaron was having some higher level thought, and Nate needed to catch up to Aaron. This happens with him too. There's sometimes he says stuff, I go, wait, hold on, repeat what you just said? Because there's some shit there that I did not grasp. Hold on. And it goes back and forth. It's just when we all tune into those higher level moments at different times in different ways. So really value whatever unique way you tune into the reality around you at any given moment. I mean, that's how you walk. This is what we're talking about actually too. That's how you walk in the now moment. That when intentions, daily prayers or daily intention setting or daily affirmations become so integrated that every step you notice the beauty all around you, even if there's little of it in a city, concrete city. The trees are beautiful and the way they move in the wind, and the different types of trees, and the way the light's hitting different leaves on the trees right now, and they actually blow differently based on the type of the leaves and how densely packed they are. And those look oily and slick, and they're beautiful. And the shade that comes down to shade the people underneath, and I'm slowing down thoughts and awarenesses that are in me every time I'm walking somewhere. Those are going on millionths of a second. They're ingrained in my subconscious at this point, at those levels. I want them to be deeper. I want to be more aware of the beauty and the life all around me at any given moment on that subtle, fundamental, subconscious, foundational level. It doesn't have to take up conscious thought. But the moment you turn into a thing, a tree, a person, a breath, closing your eyes just to breathe, that can be an eternity, and it's beautiful. When you fully are present in that breath, it's like inhaling the universe.
I said before, I don't remember what quote it was, but the gods are jealous of us because we see the beauty in a flower. So if you can live for an eternity, you don't appreciate the small little nuances, the finer little things, because you see on such a grand scale. So remember that find the beauty in the small things. That small little dandelion that finds its way to poke its beautiful flower through the cracks in this hideous city. Find the beauty in that, because it is beautiful.
Yeah.
And we're a ticking clock.
Oh yeah, it's gonna